We are three friends exploring connection, from the coffee shop to the podcast studio. I'm Amy.
I'm Anna.
I'm Aaron.
So we've got a really different episode today.
No kidding. Anna, do you see that little record button happening?
Yes, I do. It says the call is recording.
Social distancing at its finest. We're like miles apart from each other.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
This is so weird.
So weird. I miss seeing your faces in the studio.
I know. I miss you guys too. I want to give some hugs when this is all over. I'm going to be all about the knee hugs.
Knee hugs. Get it, Anna.
You're just going to be holding on and not letting go.
I literally think I'm going to cry when I see you guys and we're allowed to hug.
That makes me feel so good. My heart is smiling, Anna.
Good.
It is. That's a really nice life. Sorry, go ahead. I just interrupted.
Oh, I was just saying I've been waiting for this day for my life for Anna to embrace the knee hug. So
it just took the coronavirus. No biggie.
No biggie. Yeah.
It just took a worldwide pandemic.
That's right. To appreciate the hug. Yes, good, Anna. Yeah.
Oh, so
my God.
We're supposed to be on a break from season 3 to season 4, but we decided to do this.
That.
Just a little craziness happening in our world right now, and we're like, I think we need to do some special episodes right now, because I know,
hello, who's feeling alone right now?
I think all of us. And it's crazy because I really miss seeing facial expressions and just hugs and just the normalcy, It's so weird.
I have never enjoyed FaceTime in my life until now.
Yeah.
And, I figured out how to do those emojis on FaceTime so you can show up as, a pig or the poop head. And
that's
my favorite
defeats the purpose, therapist.
Amazing.
I know. The other day she called me and what were you, a poop head? And I was hey, can I see your face? Hello?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm can you turn that off?
You don't know how funny I think I am. So
I know. This is true.
Yeah.
I'm just embracing #raw beauty because there's no makeup, there's no showering, and I love FaceTiming right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Same. I feel like we're all going to be homesteaders. There is a sense of autonomy about just figuring it out and just,
totally
making it happen. I actually manually removed my eyelash extensions because I was at the rate this is going, I'm gonna have 3 just scraggly ass eyelash extensions. I'm just gonna pull off the Band-Aid, take these mother effers off, and just deal.
I was laughing. That was the best text message.
So I have to tell you, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I think it was at this point 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got acrylic nails on.
Oh yeah.
They were acrylic?
Oh, they're acrylic.
I didn't realize they were acrylic either.
I thought they were black.
They are so long right now, and all the salons are closed, and I can't clip them because they're acrylic.
There's got to be a way to get them off, right? Pliers? Oh, that would hurt. Don't do that.
No, I'm just going to see how long I can go.
You're all this fashion.
I'm already trying to type on my keyboard, and I'm hitting additional keys.
Oh no! You're Cardi B all of a sudden.
I am. In fact, when this is over, I might go for the seriously long, pointy fingernails that people do.
Oh yes.
Oh
you
yes.
can rock it.
Oh yes.
My poor husband and son, they're gonna be getting home haircuts here in a minute, and I am not a cosmetologist. I've never went to school for hair cuttery or whatever. Good thing no one's going to really be seeing them because it could be really bad.
I did that to my son and my dog yesterday.
How did it go?
I got the old shears out. I think it's fine. It's totally fine. I have been known to cut hair in the past, so not like officially, but for fun. Like it's whatever. And I will tell you what I have found the tip, because I did go a little short on my son's bangs, unfortunately. But the key is like flip up. Like take your scissors and make it vertical. Yeah.
Oh.
Because then you don't get like a straight across line. If you snip like straight, you know what I mean? Like vertical, then you kind of get these more natural looking hairs. I don't know. Yeah. Yep.
Wow. I didn't know you went to beauty school.
Do you YouTube that? Or you just know that intuitively?
Well, I know that I think from
school?
experience. Yeah, not intuitively, but like from trial and error.
Did you ever cut your bangs when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I cut my bangs as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
How'd that go for you, Anna?
It actually went okay. I even made like a blog post about it. And
of course you did.
People like,
I'm surprised.
People like totally trolled me, and they're like, this is why you don't cut your hair at home. Jerks.
So there's that.
Jerks. I mean, I thought it looked cute. Like, I was doing the baby bangs thing. Like, maybe it wasn't like super obvious. but
that's what you were going for?
Yeah, I thought it looked cute, but apparently some people didn't. That's okay.
No big deal. No big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, gosh, clearly we've been missing each other.
I know.
I know, right?
People.
Done and done. We've got haircut tips and FaceTime, and here we are.
Yeah. And this is our special episode.
Yes, I know. So everyone all of our listeners are going to have to be a little forgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the sound quality isn't quite the same as what y'all are used to, so.
Right.
So how are
And
we
there's
doing?
not really going to be much editing, right?
No, there's not. No.
So we're going live here, people.
Yeah, this is basically live.
So how are we doing in all of this? Anna, Amy,
gosh, you have to bring us into seriousness, Aaron.
Yeah.
That's right. Focus, people, focus.
Well, okay, so I think I'm just going to jump right in because yesterday the three of us were talking about this episode, and we were talking about like, okay, should we bring in some articles? And during our conversation, I got so triggered by a couple articles that we had been talking about, and I had serious anxiety come in to my body. And I was like, because I took the articles as like making predictions about the future and about the future of our world after this pandemic. And I realized that I have been really working hard on just being in the present. And for me, you know, as many of you know, going through the divorce I've been going through, it's been hard. And so for the last, you know, almost, I don't know, a year or whatever, I've been trying to stay in the present just in my day-to-day life to try to not get too ahead of myself, because when I get ahead of myself, I get very anxious. And so I have found that with this pandemic, it's kind of an extension of the same for me, where I really have to stay in the present. And oftentimes people will remind me, look at your feet, because if I look at my feet, I see them on the ground. I know I have a roof over my head. I know I'm healthy today. I know my kids are healthy today. And I know that right now in this moment, I am okay. And for me, that's like the place I have to stay. And so it was really interesting talking about today, or, you know, our recording of this, and just really seeing again, like how important that practice is for me, how important it has been. And now with the pandemic, how it continues to be just as, if not even more so important.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like I'm okay when I'm in the present moment.
Yeah.
When I start future tripping, I get super anxious.
Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, I felt so bad. I was like, oh shit, that article really jacked your shit up. I felt so bad.
Oh.
And it was just
yeah.
oh my gosh, I didn't expect that. And I was like, I need to tell Amy sorry. Like, you know.
We are all good. I don't feel like I didn't realize
it's
it would
not
be
personal.
Triggering. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what, though, Anna? Neither did I. I mean, I was like, I feel like I was just as surprised by my reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like this whole situation, none of us have been through this. So it's like, I feel like I'm noticing a lot of, for myself too, a lot of like expectations of like, oh, I should be doing this, or I expect my response to be this. And the reality is none of us have been through this. None of us know how to deal with this. So we're all just figuring it out. And like, man, this shit is triggering.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, Erin, what about you? How are you doing in all of this?
Well, last week I had a scheduled vacation. And so I kind of felt like I was dodging the draft a little bit because I wasn't here and Crystal was holding down the fort for the business. And so I was kind of out of things because I was on vacation and not in my work world and having to figure out that we had to go to telehealth and all that kind of stuff. But the week before, when all the stuff was happening and I was seeing clients, and everybody's obviously talking about the coronavirus, and I was in my own anxiety. And so holding space for people, but also like having to deal with my own stuff, was challenging. And then we, had a scheduled trip, to go to Taos. And so we were debating on whether to do that and what to do. And we ended up still going, which was good because we were able to social distance there. But so we had to pack to go there. We had to get some stuff. So we went to Costco in the middle of the day on Thursday. And I'll tell you what, I had an anxiety attack right in the middle of Costco because I was talking to Chris, my husband, about all of the things with coronavirus, and that's when it was like first starting to get real kicked up in our country and all this stuff. So we're walking through Costco, which is intense anyways, and then there's no toilet paper and there's no paper towels and lots of stuff is out. And so it was just like, and people were crazy in the store. And so I struggled a lot the week before, but I would tell you that my vacation was a blessing because I feel like I'm in a very, I needed that space away. And now I feel like I understand the reality of the situation, but my anxiety hasn't, I've been able to like do a lot of things to self-care things that I talk to all the time. I was like, I need to do all this shit that I tell people that I like talk to people about doing all the time. I have to do the same stuff that I talk to people about because, that everyone has to manage your anxiety because we're in, this is like a global trauma, right? And so, like you were saying, that no one knows what to do. And so everybody's response is different. And so I think that, so what am I doing? I'm taking it day by day, just like you. I'm doing. But interesting enough, I think, like, for me, reading articles about, like, where things are going or where things are, that helps me to kind of wrap my head around what to come up or how to prepare or whatever. And that stuff, if I'm in a real anxious place, doesn't help. But like for me to read about that daily helps me to manage the situation and my own anxiety around it. So I think people's different responses about what that does for people, So, Anna, how about you?
Yeah. So, gosh, it's been really just wild. So, I too like to, read articles and try to find out all the info. And I kind of think it's like similar to my interest in like murder and true crime, like, because it's like, if I know these things, then maybe I can prevent it. It's like, if I know all the ways people die, like with the true crime, my favorite murder podcast, it's like, maybe I can prevent being in that situation. And this is totally like a fear, like trying to control my anxiety or like the situation, when the reality is there's no controlling it. It's totally an anxiety response. So I think part of my like researching and trying to find out all the things and stay up to date with things has been helpful in a way, like you said, Erin, for yourself. But in a lot of ways, like, I know if I'm not going outside and like getting a walk by myself, you know, getting space for my husband and son, then I will just obsess over these things and just be like, oh my gosh, and just spiral really. And so that's when it's not helpful. And that's when I know I need to turn on an episode of Love is Blind and just watch some like stupid shit and like zone the hell out and have a moment. And then, gosh, my son, they had their last day of school on last Friday. I don't even know what, no, it wasn't last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. I'm totally losing track of time. Is anybody else losing track of time?
Totally.
Okay. And so like, when was it? Last Monday. So a week ago Monday. We're recording this on a Monday. And I was like, my husband had to go into the office and like get situated to work from home. And I was with my son the majority of the day. And it was so incredibly hard. Like I got into like this whole shame spiral of, you know, I'm not a stay-at-home mom. Why is this not coming natural to me? Like it triggered all of that inadequacy stuff as a mother that I like have talked about in the past. And so that was really interesting. So later on that day, I went on a walk. I was bawling to myself in the park. And then,
did you video it?
No, I did not video it.
You have video stuff that before the Starbucks line. That's all it is.
Okay, yes. That was true. Okay,
That's
that was after. That's fair. That is fair. Okay. That was after. This was during.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess totally fair question. That's not out of the scope of something I would do. Yeah. I give you that. Okay. But yeah, it's just like, and then, you know, I had the fleeting thought of like, oh, I should probably cancel. This wasn't at the same exact time, but I was like, oh, there's so much going on. And, you know, now I'm worried about money. Maybe I should cancel my therapy appointment, which is set up through telehealth with Erin's partner, Crystal, that was mentioned just a minute ago. And I was like, after I had my appointment with her, I was like, thank God I did not cancel that appointment.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Yeah, like thank God.
Yeah.
Like of all the things that can be canceled right now, do not cancel the therapy appointments. Like, and she really helped me make sense of this. And, you know, she said like some things that were incredibly helpful. Do you want me to tell you what she said?
Yeah,
okay,
of course.
So I wrote notes because it was that helpful. And like the video situation was not hard at all. I was like, wasn't sure how that would work, but it was totally fine. I just, at one point, like, I was like, I'm not sure what to do now. And, and it was like totally fine to just, you know, she just told me, okay, how about this or whatever. But she said that what's going on right now is we are all in trauma, like you had said, Erin. And what happens is we have a nervous system response, like our reaction. So there's the flight, fight, or freeze that we've all heard about, and we can go in between those, and there's no right or wrong way to respond to this crisis and this trauma that we're currently experiencing, and it's all an instinctual, automatic response. So then we started talking about some of the different ways, like this fight, flight, or freeze could look, and I thought it was really interesting because like I said, I've been feeling some shame about like my mothering and how I feel kind of inadequate in that area, and this has highlighted that. And so in other areas of my life, and even with my son, like I've been really wanting to like, you know, figure things out, like set up a plan, or like with my book club, like set up, like, okay, let's do this Zoom meeting, and this is how the format should be, and here's, you know, what we should do with this and this and this, and it's kind of like this energy behind it, and then feeling really mad at people for being out and about still and not like social distancing properly. Like I want to go around and put a yardstick between them. Like, hey, back up.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of an activation response. And then the freeze is where, and I feel like I've been vacillating between the freezing and the fighting personally, because like it just kind of like a shutdown, like even talking about us, we wanted to, you know, talk about recording, and I was like, I can't even wrap my head around how to process this stuff right now. Like I couldn't even go there until after I had my therapy appointment, actually. So it's kind of, it looks like shutting down, kind of like a paralyzed or a denial, like the system is just so completely overwhelmed. And then I asked Krista what flight would look like, and she said it would probably look like people, you know, going and hoarding or overbuying or doing the panic buying and trying to have control over the situation, and then like going home and kind of hunkering down or like doing social distancing within their own family even. And I don't know if you agree with that, but apparently you can go in between.
Well, I think you can cycle between them like within 5 minutes of time, right?
Yeah.
To be totally overwhelmed and then feel like you frantically need to clean something, and then you feel like you need to get outside of the house and go walk, you know, whatever the things are. I think that, and to just be gentle with yourself. And when those responses come up, what comes with that is like very old. So you may have worked on all these things, and then old coping skills come up. And so like I have worked really hard on eliminating or like decreasing my caffeine consumption. But since this has started, my caffeine consumption has then is slowly on the increase, because like that's how I cope with things. And so like if old habits, whatever those things are for people, they're like creeping back in, to monitor them, but also to be gentle around the fact of like, we're in the middle of a crisis, like we're in the middle of trauma. And so that's just how things go. So
and it's like we're in survival mode.
Absolutely. Yes.
Amy, how are you feeling about all this?
I think it's totally true. I mean, I think that as far as all three, and it's just this cycle of, I mean, I feel like, whoa, at one point I'm, you know, in freeze mode. I mean, I find myself to be in freeze mode, I think, more, or not necessarily fight mode, but I just think I just want to get away, and I just watch crap TV, you know? So that's one thing. I feel like the freeze mode is good, but then I also feel like my fight mode. So like, you know, we found out that school was going to be extended, the time off, all that stuff. And I go into do mode. And so, you know, my kids and I started this newspaper, and I mean, I think there's some of the experiencing of trauma with all those things that are such survival skills, you know, and I have a real appreciation for a lot of it. But it's like keeping my eye or keeping my awareness level really high as far as like if I take anything too far, which we all know I can certainly do.
All or nothing, baby.
Yeah. I think that's like why we're friends.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, I think there's a time and place for, you know, obviously like a lot of that trauma response is just, it's biological, right? So we're wired that way, and so it is survival. And so I also try to give myself some grace, because frankly, like, this doesn't feel new to me to be in this at all. And so for me, it's kind of like, I know at some point this is going to end, and I have to constantly remind myself of that. And I have to remind myself of that about a lot of things right now. And I have been having to remind myself of that for a while. And so I think that's what is kind of bizarre for me, is that it's just kind of like, okay, well, this is yet another thing. And at some point it's going to end. At some point I will be outside of that survival mode, or at least not in it as much as I have been. And to be quite honest, sometimes I worry about that more than being in it.
Say more about that.
Well, I mean, it's like my life is action fucking packed right now, you know, and has been for a while. It's like there's always something coming up. There's always something happening. And I'm always like fight, fright, or whatever they all are, you know, like, and so sometimes I think like, oh my gosh, what in the world is it going to be like if, I mean, I frankly can't even really imagine when things are like what it will be like, you know, will it be calm and what, like, am I just going to, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it'll be like when it's not.
Well, it's interesting because I think that's what I anticipate that coming up for a lot of people is because like life is often so busy and people are going, or there's lots of shit that's happening like you were describing like all the time. And so when we're in social isolation and we're sheltering in place and staying in our houses and things do calm down and there's not a lot of like input, and there is for you, Amy, right now, but for a lot of people there's not. And so then all your stuff comes to the surface because you're forced to stop. And so I think that you will not, I think that's a question that a lot of people have, because what happens now that I have to deal with myself all the time. You know?
Oh, look, there I am again. Oh, hi. Can't get away from you.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, you're not alone in that. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, thank God, right? I mean, in so many ways, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, you know, now all of a sudden the whole world is living in uncertainty. And I've been living in uncertainty for a while. And now all of a sudden, all these people know what it's like too, you know? And I mean, I'm not trying to say like I'm this super unique person who's been living in uncertainty, but there is a sense of togetherness, just with obviously having this extreme common experience.
Yeah. So, what have you guys been on social media? And I know, Amy, you recently got back on.
Yeah.
I
mean, I got back on Facebook specifically, which is what I had been off for a while. And, so I got back on that, and Instagram I've been on.
Yeah.
Erin, what about you?
I have been on my screen time. I've been trying to, maybe this is my fight response, is because I've been trying to limit, like, be conscious about my screen time before all this stuff happened. And it was getting low. And then I looked at my average screen time, because I was on vacation last week, and we were stuck in the house a lot, was 6 hours a day. Oh my God. That's a lot of time. So yeah, I have been on there a lot because I've been like, that was part of my anxiety of like coming to a place of like more calm and level with all this stuff. But 6 hours a day is a lot. But I have been watching the thing I sent you to about, I've been watching some of Glennon Doyle's daily things, and if you have not tuned into her like daily discussions about things, they're quite entertaining and very real about what's happening. It's great. She talked about, the one that I thought was so funny was she talked about the themes of what are happening right now, and the theme that she was talking about for that day was people being super productive during quarantine, and how that's like just so ridiculous, that productivity, like it's great that people want to be productive, but if there's this expectation of having to be productive during a time of like chaos and quarantine, like that's kind of ridiculous. And so I really appreciate when people can frame things. And there was this little meme that it's this picture of a chihuahua, and it says, every time, did I send this to you too, of this chihuahua?
Tell me about it. It's not ringing a bell.
My friend Sherry sent this to me because we were trying to like find light in all this craziness. So she sent me this meme of this little chihuahua, and it says, every time I feel a tickle on my throat, I say, is that you, Rona?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so Now we have a little joke
Rona.
going here. Hey, is that you, Rona?
Rona.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, and you brought up a lot of stuff, and I mean, with social media, it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole of like all the rumors and the fear and everybody's opinions and thoughts, and just kind of get sucked into it. And like, you brought up like the expectations. Like, I'm seeing these things about like all these people who created all these amazing things during like their own quarantines, like years
the theory
ago.
of relativity, Einstein. Go ahead.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
Come on, like I'm trying to keep a kid alive. Like that's where I'm at. Like that's it.
Erin, that's where I loved that post that you sent because what did you say? Gwendolyn Doyle, is that right?
Glennon
Doyle.
Glennon.
Yeah,
Glennon Doyle. So she was saying like, well, I'll tell you what, about my theory of relativity is that relatives should never spend this much time together in close proximity.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah, she's so funny. Her and Abby, oh my gosh, they're hilarious. Their relationship. So the other thing that I'm seeing on social media a lot is like these ideas like this, like, oh, let's find the light. Let's find the silver lining. Let's find like the positive in this situation, or I'm trying not to cry right now. And it's like it definitely veers into that territory that we've mentioned before of like this, and this is even more highlighted of this toxic positivity. And, I think that it's really, really, what's the word? It's not helpful to not like let ourselves
super
be
invalidating.
sad. Oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, okay. Like someone said just the other day, a friend on Facebook was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like crying, but I'm gonna just power through." And it's like, or crying is totally fine too. Like we can have these feelings, and like, it's only because of Crystal and like doing therapy that, for multiple years that I'm even at a place to where I can let myself cry. Like I had to, do in the park the other day, just bawling my eyes out, and everybody's like, "Is she okay? She got the Rona? What's happening?"
Rona, is that you?
Rona, that's you? You cried? What? Is crying a new symptom of it? And what do you all think about this, like positivity, or like, what are you feeling about that?
Jamie, you're going to go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think it's just like I take what I want and I leave the rest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, maybe, I mean, I'm so in my own stuff, I feel like half the time that it's like, yeah, if that's what people want to do, that's their deal. Like I feel like, I just feel like I go into do mode anyway. So for me, it's just like, okay, we're just doing. And what I am working on is this newspaper with my kids, and so
diligently.
Yeah. And I have seeing my issues in the email every day. It's very impressive.
It's so fun, but it's also been super helpful for my kids and I just to like, we hope to be providing families with something easy to just like print off and do, or get online and just check it out and give parents a break. And I mean, frankly, it's like the least I can do with my, teaching background and just with my experience that I've had in the past with my kids with homeschooling and traveling. So it just is very, comes very naturally. And so for me, I don't know, like, I mean, I'm not at a place where I can be like, oh, yes, I can see why this is all happening. And here's the positive things that are going to come into everyone's lives. But that goes back to the same thing for me of like the anxiety. Like, I think for me, it just goes both ways. It's like, no, you know what? I'm going to look at my feet. And like right now, things are fine. Right now, we have food on the table. Right now, I am okay. My kids are okay. My dog is okay. My friends are okay. My family's okay. You know, like, so I guess it goes in the same camp as, like, I don't put much weight into people saying, I mean, how does anyone know anything about what is going to end up happening with all of this? No, I mean, like, would you have ever guessed? There are a few people, I'm sure, who, and I have read, of course, who, like, predicted this whole pandemic. But, like, outside of them, everyone
just
else,
like regular people.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, no. I would not have guessed that at the end of, you know, in March of 2020, I would celebrate my birthday. Oh, yeah, and then I'd be, like, in basically, like, lockdown except for essentials. No.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So, Erin, what about you? Toxic positivity?
Well, when you first think of toxic positivity, I think I have the same gut reaction as I do to life hacks. Which is a very favorable reaction.
Wait, I just have to pause you for a sec because you're doing that thing with the crunchy.
With the what?
It's like cutting out or something.
How is it right now?
Better.
Better. Okay, good. So I'll start over. Is that my feeling about toxic positivity is the same way that I feel about life hacks, and that.
So you love it.
I love it so much. They're my favorite thing. Except I did post that thing on Facebook about the picture. You put a fork on the nail, and then you slide the picture, you know, the string over the fork, and then it hangs so gently on the nail. That is a good life hack.
This is just the beginning.
No, it's not, Anna.
This was a gateway hack.
No, it was not.
Next thing you know, gateway hack.
This is a gateway hack. Get out of here. Anyhow, I think that there's room for both, right? And so I think that it's important to find gratitude in things because naturally there's a negativity bias. And so our brains are going to look for all the negative things that are happening. And so it is very easy to see, and that is a survival-based thing, and that's how our brains are wired. So it's able, all the negative things that are happening, very easy to see. And so that sticks to us like Velcro. And then positive shit falls off like Teflon. And so I do think that there's a balance of like finding gratitude, but in very small things, especially in times of crisis. So like when I'm petting my dog, what is this? It's like, or I'm playing dominoes because I've been playing a shit ton of dominoes, which actually I really like. Or have a cup of tea, or like have a cup of coffee, whatever the thing is, like small things of gratitude. And like for me, like looking to see like, I wonder how the world's going to change. That doesn't give me anxiety. That makes me think like things will shift and like, what do they look like? But I don't think I'm being blowing smoke up my ass. And then also too, like I'll have a freak out of anxiety about something like a couple times a day. And I will let myself a couple times a day go into the anxiety and feel that. So I'm like feeling my feelings because I think during this time, because things are so uncertain and there's so much chaos and so much fear, anxiety, all those things are coming up. It's easy to like go down this rabbit hole of shit. And so I think that if we just push them away, then that stuff's not going to go anywhere because anxiety just tries to keep us from drowning, right? And so we have to feel our feelings at some point. And so I think there's this balance of not going down the rabbit hole, but also feeling what we need to feel. And so to feel it some parts of the day and then put that shit away and do the rest of your day.
Well,
some days will be easier. Some days will be easier than others, right? And to be gentle if like you're freaking out for an entire day, that's okay. But we also know there's lots of resources with skills and like things to do to help you look at your feet or breathe or exercise or whatever that we can do to help manage and move through those emotions so they're not just stuck in us. So yeah, that's what I got.
Cool, that's good. What do you think about like putting a time limit on like, okay, for like 15 minutes I'm going to spiral and look at all these articles and freak out and like do you think that's okay, or should it, or just like even an hour, or just no time limit all day long.
How about
Is it
4
fine?
days? I can just go down.
What's your professional opinion on how long a spiral?
I think it
can last?
depends, right?
Okay.
It depends on what works for you. Some people, they can't 15 minutes is too much, right?
Okay.
And some people 15 minutes is like just the tip of the iceberg for them to like feel like they have some sort of knowledge base about what is going on. And I think, what is the reaction to you? Like, if does this thing okay? Does this sit with me all right? Like, is it making me spiral? Does it make me go into my trauma response and I was actually okay before I read this? Like, you have to pay attention to what is happening for you, so that, because I think it's the person dependent and probably even like day dependent or moment by moment dependent, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's just like, what do I need? Or like, I think a time limit on things is great. Like, in the morning, I'm going to check things, and then maybe don't do that right before bed, because then I think that leads to all sorts of sleeping issues. But like, when is the time that you're going to check this stuff? And kind of judging on that. And if things will be different, because we'll be in different spaces throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the day.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. And just having grace with ourselves that it can and will change.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned like petting your dog and stuff. Like, I don't want to go down the toxic positivity, but like Crystal at our therapy session, she was like, let yourself have those feelings of like shame or like sadness or whatever's happening, but also let yourself have those moments of joy and happiness. I kind of feel like, in a way, it's like, how could I enjoy life at this moment? Like almost like, and I didn't talk to her about this, but it kind of feels like almost like a survivor's guilt, even though we're not at that point. It's like, well, I'm not sick yet, or like my family's healthy, how should I be enjoying myself, or how could I let that happen, But the truth is, like, I think we really do need to have these moments of like noticing the joy just as much as we're noticing like these hard feelings, like giving respect to all sides of those feelings, whatever they may be. So I'm curious, like, what you all think about that, and then also like what have been some of the different like sparks of joy that you've had in this time.
I just have to, so I think there's a big difference, and I'm sure that you both, well, I'm just going to say this because I'm struggling with this, but I think there's a huge difference between toxic positivity and a positive mindset.
Oh yeah, totally different.
And I think that in my mind, like, I think a lot about like Dandapani, of course, and he says, whatever you practice, you become good at. And so, like, there is value, I think. I mean, I have, brought up I've started to redo my gratitude list, because if I am continually practicing what I'm grateful for, no matter how small or big, then hopefully, then I will become, or I'll have a gratitude, a mindset with gratitude or whatever. But I just feel like there are times when I think if you do force, even if it feels like a force, to be positive or to be grateful, I think that there's a lot of value there to help your mindset, and I don't think it's toxic.
I would agree.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, I think there are differences, and to me the difference with toxic positivity versus a positive mindset is that with toxic positivity, we're going to look at the bright side no matter what, at all costs, and we're not going to even entertain any of the sadness or anything, because that will like taint the positive parts.
And then that shit just comes out sideways.
Yeah, is that what you are?
Can we also call that denial?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. I totally think so. But like with the spin of like, well, we're being positive. We're not going there. We're not going to give it that power. And it's like, well, wait a minute here. You know, like, I think that's where the difference is, where, like, a positive mindset is, like, no matter what happens, we're going to figure it out. We're going to, you know, try to do what we can, but it's okay, too, if we feel sad. It's okay if we cry. It's okay if we're mad. It's okay if we're fucking annoyed or whatever comes up, you know. I think it's just, like, the all, you know, 110% positivity only thing that feels toxic.
They talk oftentimes about, like, whatever we resist persists. And I think that's in that category of, like, if we resist all of our negative emotions, right, then they will just keep on, like, knocking at the door until we pay attention to them. And if we don't pay attention to them, then that's when that stuff comes out sideways. And then we have an outlet, like we, like, lash out at someone, or we get into terrible habits, or whatever the things are, like that. I think that we have to pay attention to. But I think toxic positivity is the opposite of that. So normal range of emotions, right? I don't know what the opposite would be, but, like, there's room for everything, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like there's room, welcome for it all.
Yeah. So I would say, though, Anna, back to your question. I mean, one thing that has been really helpful for me is going on a walk with my dog and my kids every day, and just taking intentional, like, at least 2 really deep breaths of just air, like air outside my house, you know. So that's been really good. And then I've been starting up this gratitude practice again with a couple friends, where we just every day text a list of 3 to 5 things that we're grateful for. And they can be really small or really big, and at any time of the day, but every day it is a practice that I notice a huge change with that. And then also this newspaper, and really thinking about, for, like, the kids, I don't know. I really do get a lot out of seeing how kids process all of this. Like, I feel like there's so much about adults, obviously, and, like, how we are processing it, and the fear and the trauma and the blah, 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 blah. And then, like, kids are just kind of, like, rolling with it, you know? I mean, there are many, of course, who are having a lot of anxiety, and I don't mean to downplay that, but I also find it very interesting that, like, oh my gosh, like, here's all these parents home with their kids, and, like, there's a bunch of kids who are, like, absolutely thrilled. Oh, you know? And so, of course, I just find it to be really interesting and really gratifying to hear kind of like what my kids are thinking about, or what they find interesting, or what they're enjoying. And so those are the things I would say. What about you, Anna?
Did Erin answer? Did you? Oh,
Erin.
Or I mean, I can. Okay. I feel like I've been talking a lot this episode. So what I've really liked is I have been just feeling so grateful that we have a dog.
Yes.
I'm like, this is such good timing. Like, and talk about, like, just being in the moment and being present. I just look at Humpty, and he's just this ridiculous bulldog that is just slobbery and chubby, and he just loves to lay in the sun and fart, and he is such a joy. And he's also so frustrating, but, like, on walks he will not move. But, like, he just seeing how he brings joy to people when we're walking, and he just is just a joy. I am so glad he exists and that we have him, and it could not have been better timing. The other thing that we're doing is we live on a busy street, so a lot of people are walking their dogs and, you know, just kind of out for their walks and stuff. And that's part of where I've been like, back up. Like, I want to be like, okay, scooch away, you guys, like, get it, you know, back up, get away from each other, which is not helpful. But that's how I've been seeing all these people. And we have like this patio, and so we have, like, I have a little son, and we have this bubble machine, and so we've been just doing a whole, like, bubble show, basically, not like an official show, but, like, just, like, nonstop bubbles, like, off of our patio, and people
love it.
People have been loving it. They're
great.
they holler up. They're like, "Thank you." It's been so nice and so that's just a little bit of joy. And then when I have been out with Humpty taking him on the walks and, keeping 6 feet at least away from people, I've been really trying to make a conscious effort to make eye contact with people and say hi and smile because it is so, I just think about how isolated I feel, being in a house with 2 other people and a dog. And I just think I have no idea what other people's situations are. And maybe just having that little bit of human contact, making eye contact and then being acknowledged as a human in this world, experiencing this weirdness, maybe it can just be a point of connection. And I don't know, it just feels little, but something that feels like it's good for me. But I also think, shit, who knows? Maybe this will be their only contact with a human today. Just trying to think about and then I've been trying to call people and FaceTime and I called my dad the other day. We talked for over an hour. I told him, I was like, lucky you, you're in the rotation now. He's like, oh. I was like, Dad, you're supposed to sound more thrilled with this. He's like, oh, so you're bored? I was like, well, I'm a little bit bored, but also I want to talk to you.
Anna, that is so amazing. Think about how you went from your voicemail message being
it's still there.
Honestly, still, you went from never talking on the phone.
Yes. True.
I'd like to say I helped with that in the beginning.
You did help with that.
You did.
I think you were instrumental.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You were instrumental.
Okay, good.
You get an award for that.
Yeah,
thank you. I was
we will give you credit, Erin.
for that. Thank you. Thank you. I was looking for it.
So what about you, Erin?
Things that have been good. I really like playing games. And so we've played a card game called Kings in the Corner, which is so fun.
Love that one.
I love it.
Totally reminds me of my childhood.
That's so fun. Lots of dominoes, Skippo.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I love Skip.
Oh, it's such a good game. It's so good.
I never heard of these.
That totally reminds me of my Grandma Kay.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
So those games have been super fun because I think I don't play them enough. So we've played a lot because we've been in the house so much. And then obviously my dog it's been great. And the cat, it's just nice to snuggle and appreciate that. I have started watching this show called Jack Ryan. It's on Amazon, which is so good. So I don't watch that much TV. It's so good. It's like a cross. I think in my understanding, it's a cross between 24. Remember that show? And and the Jason Bourne movies.
Oh, interesting.
So good. So I'm excited about that.
It's like current day MacGyver.
Kind of.
Okay.
I've been running.
Swing and a miss. And no.
Not so much, Amy. So I've been running a lot, and I really hope that they do not. This has been in the rumor mill, so I don't know if this is that they're going to close trails in Colorado, because that would make me very sad. But I'm real grateful that I have I can run, and that my Peloton, we got one at the beginning, and so that has been a lifesaver. And so I'm happy that we have all that stuff in our house. And then also too, I had the windows open today. And so it got a little bit cold, but when the sun was out, that you can air out the house. So I love when that. So that stuff makes me happy. And just I have been surprised, especially since I've been home, that because we were in Taos from Saturday till Wednesday, and since I've been home, and I don't know what this is. I don't really do that socially because I work so much and I'm exercising or I'm at home. But it's been nice, and I'm sure if I'm here for a long time, I'm not going to feel this way. But it's been nice just to have time to be in my house and enjoy being here. And so that has been good for now. So I'm sure I'll want to get out, but my getting out usually is working out and going for a run on a trail or whatever. So that's been okay so far. So
Good.
And I've been doing trying to intentionally meditate more and get into a regular routine with that, because that seems to be helping me a lot, because that gives me a space to feel all that anxiety that's coming up and then feel it and move it through, and to get into a regular habit of that. Because what I decided when I went to Taos is, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but I'm just going to keep going, is that after that I had that panic attack. Well, I didn't have a panic attack. I had an anxiety attack in Costco. And I was like, okay, this is not how I want to respond to the situation. And so I took my time when I was in the desert in Taos to figure out, how do I want to respond to this situation? And I know that I will not be perfect, but what do I want that to look like? And I can feel all of my feelings, and there's plenty of them, of fear, anxiety, and worry, but there's also joy and gratitude and all that kind of stuff. And that I can feel all of them without reacting to them. And so I can feel them and move them through. And so that has been super helpful in terms of course, I get irritable with Chris, let's be honest. But, and I get a little snappy. And so we talk about it, and it's fine. But it's been helpful to have that as a frame of reference, that I don't have to react to all the stuff that I'm feeling right now. So that I am grateful that, and actually I was like, thank God I've done so much therapy that being with myself feels okay now, because at some point in my life, this would not have felt. This has been really, really, really hard for me. And so I'm really grateful that that part of this at least has not been difficult, because I can be with myself now, and I actually enjoy it most of the time. So yeah, so that's what I got.
I wonder the difference of being by yourself by choice versus being by yourself by force. Yes.
Well, Anna, you had a strong reaction to that in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's most of the time, I work from home, but and so I don't spend a lot of time with other people, but having someone tell me or strongly suggest oh, you can't do this or you shouldn't do this, I was like, oh, hell no. That part of it, I don't like the rebel in me is no. All of a sudden I have to do all these things, outside. But yeah, how are you guys feeling about it?
I think it's interesting. So as a single parent, the first weekend that I was kind of self-isolating, I was without my kids, but I had my dog, which was great, but very hard, especially towards the end of that weekend. And then when I've had my kids, that it's been obviously really different, but I am more of a social person, and I love it, obviously being with my kids. And I'm coming up on another weekend here where I'll be on my own. And I definitely have a little bit more anxiety about it. And I know that I'm going to have to structure my time. But honestly, as we're talking, I feel wow, this would be interesting for us to kind of touch base again on Friday, because I'll be kind of halfway through, a 5-day stint on my own. And because it's a very different experience for me. When I'm in this, quarantine or whatever by myself with my dog, and then with my kids and my dog, it's two really different experiences, and one that I don't have control over, obviously. So,
can you talk about how it's a little different?
I think just the loneliness factor. My kids give me so much purpose and so much joy and so much stimulation. I find they're very interesting. We talk all the time. We play games. We're playing crazy amounts of Foursquare on our driveway, and we're together all the time. To be quite honest, we're together so much. We've been having sleepovers even during quarantine, like as if we don't get enough time together. But we're like fully, like last night we were like, let's try it with Dory too. So like the dog, and so we had a big sleepover last night, and
like with just the three of you and Dory, your dog.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, get the sleeping bags out. And it's just, so it's like, it's so all or nothing for me, I guess, is like, it's like all in. And that's kind of how I have been as a mom, is totally all in and all consuming. And then all of a sudden it will be a very quiet house. And I do, there are times like I like to be by myself, and I love, having time to really like go into other rabbit holes, I guess, but and journal and meditate and whatever, and also like just chill. But I don't need as much time as I get. Like I wouldn't choose to be away from my kids as much. I mean, I think it's probably healthy, for parents to have some time away from their kids, obviously, but I would never, and so it gets very hard for me. And sometimes I can end up going down, negative thought patterns or just depression, really. I mean, I get fucking lonely, but yeah, so I mean, more to come, I'm sure, on that topic.
You keep us posted on that.
Yeah, I will for sure.
I think that's a good idea.
We're still doing our virtual coffees.
Yeah, we're going to do virtual coffees. Yeah. But I will say one thing, like a shout out to all the single parents out there who are going through this, because I know that I can't be alone, obviously, with like divorce rates as they are or whatever. And, there's a lot of single parents out there too. So, I just, it's a new experience for me, and I feel for them.
Yeah. Right.
So. So hit me up on Facebook. How about that?
You did introduce yourself to the group, so
I did introduce. Now I have to be honest. I don't think I've been back on since, which seems to be my issue. Like I go on, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go back, and it's been days or whatever. So
we're here for you whenever you're.
Absolutely.
So Erin, you had a really good lockdown poem that you had found.
So
do you want to share that?
Yeah, I subscribed to Tim Ferriss's 5 Bullet Friday, and he included it in his in the 5 bullets, and so I thought it was really good, so I'll just read it. So it's entitled Lockdown. So yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds sing again. I feel like I'm getting teary during this. Here we go. So they say that just after a few weeks of quiet, the sky no longer looks thick with fumes, but with blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to those that are housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number so that the neighborhood so that the elders may see that they have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, the weary. All over the world, people are slowing down, reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. And all over the world, I didn't think I'd get so emotional during this.
Okay.
All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and remember that, yes, there is fear, but there doesn't have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there doesn't have to be loneliness. Yes, there's panic buying, but it does not have to be. But there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. Yes, there's even death, but there can always be rebirth of love. Wake the choices you make as to how you live now. Today, breathe. Listen behind the factory noises of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. The spring is coming. And we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul. And though you may not be able to touch across the empty space, empty square, sing. So Father Richard Hendrick, who is an OFM, which I think is a Franciscan priest. But, yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you.
I got real emotional.
Okay over there?
Yeah, I'm okay. I didn't realize I was going to get emotional, but it's,
Yeah.
I'm just letting it be here.
Yeah. Feel
Let
the
it be.
feeling. For better or worse.
Let it be. Just kidding.
All right.
There's
Are we
another.
doing a nugget?
Oh, good Lord. Just survive, people.
Yeah.
That's a
The
nugget.
nugget. Yeah, the nugget. The homework assignment for this week.
Yeah.
Or this day is to survive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we do that?
Survive. Try to be kind to yourself.
And just smile at your freaking neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Just survive.
Just survive.
Yeah.
And
We're all
one more
in
thing.
it.
Well, I don't think it could. I mean, I do, and I think it's beautiful, but we don't have to do it.
Wait,
do you
what is
want-
this?
It's just a thing that's really good.
Let's save it because I think
Okay.
that lockdown, that's a lot to digest.
It's a lot. Yeah,
and
it's
so
good.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right.
Okay.
I love you guys.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Thanks for listening. You can find more about this episode and a way to connect to the community at lessalonepodcast.com. And if you like us, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to leave a review. It helps other people find us and could be just what they need.